Welcome back. This is Dr. Jin Sung, where clinical excellence meets excellent results. Today we're going to talk about iron deficiency and how do we improve iron absorption. Iron deficiency is pretty rampant here in the United States, and there are many different causes. And if you'd like to know about the different causes and symptoms, go back to my first video where we discuss a lot of these signs and symptoms of iron deficiency. Today we're going to discuss how do we improve absorption, okay? So how do we improve iron deficiency anemia? One, you have to reduce inflammation, right? Inflammatory markers like CRP, calprotectin of the gut, or ESR can be evaluated to see if we have inflammation. Inflammation will cause issues with iron absorption. So finding the underlying mechanism for inflammation is very important. So that leads to number two is correcting the underlying problems, right? There are a lot of different causes, like I said, and if you went back to our other videos, you can see the different causes. However, if you look at it, things like heavy menstruation, fibroids, ulcers, autoimmune disease like celiac, Crohn's, or ulcerative colitis can all impact iron deficiency. So it doesn't matter how much iron you give these individuals, you have to correct or help the underlying mechanisms, right? If you have celiac disease, you can't have gluten. If you have Crohn's disease, it's an autoimmune disease, so you might have to modulate your immune system to dampen the autoimmune process. So you have to go after the underlying mechanisms here before you can give a patient a lot of iron so the iron levels can come up, right? One little clinical tip is that fibroids can be helped with things like green tea extracts, right? Vitamin D and resveratrol. So if you have fibroids, you might want to use some of these ingredients or products to help with fibroids and improve iron absorption. So ulcers are caused due to stress. It could be due to H. pylori infections. So you got to correct the underlying mechanism there. Okay. You have to improve your diet, right? There are a lot of vegans and vegetarians who do it incorrectly and they become iron deficient. So taking in fortified iron is very different from taking in proper heme iron from animal products. So we recommend some sort of animal protein, right? Heme is better absorbed and it's found in seafood, clams, oysters, red meat, organ meats especially. So having proper levels of iron in food is very important. Now, if we're a vegetarian and you're adding mostly plants, grains, etc., you're going to have non-heme iron, right? And then there's also oxalates and phytic acid in there. And what happens with oxalates is that it binds to the iron and it gets excreted out. So there is some issues with that. Now, if you take green leafy vegetables, which is high in iron, and you boil it, then you're going to reduce your iron levels. So the best thing to do is probably steam your veggies and not boil them. You need to take in green leafy veggies, dried fruits, raisins, prunes or apricots, pumpkin seeds, black beans, and there are other things that have iron in them. But again, if you want the highly absorbable form, you need to have some sort of animal protein, or you may need to supplement. At the end of the day, it's not the worst thing. You have to supplement some iron, right? And number 5, right over here, how do we improve absorption, right? Once we get to the underlying mechanisms, as you correct inflammation and some of the autoimmune disease processes and so forth, how do we improve absorption, right? One way we can do it is you take a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar and you put it in water and you can drink it before your meal, right? That improves the acidic environment in your stomach and helps to absorb iron better. So apple cider vinegar is one way. Okay. Another is taking some extra vitamin C. So vitamin C is known to help improve iron absorption, right, in the form of ascorbic acid. And then taking certain forms of iron is better than others, right? So the typical prescription for iron is iron sulfate. And they tend to absorb okay, but have more GI symptoms associated with iron intake. So we like to recommend a ferrous, Bisglycinate chelate, right? It's a form of iron, and it creates less GI upset, so less issues with digestive problems or constipation and those types of things. So we would like to recommend that. Liver extract, and then hydrochloric acid, right? Hydrochloric acid, again, is basically improving the acidity of the stomach and helping your digestive process to improve absorption. It's not going to just improve iron levels, but it may also help protein absorption, B12, B9, etc. So nutrient absorption is important. Oftentimes what you find is companies will make supplements or packets of supplements with these products in them, right? And helps to absorb nutrients better. So they've done some studies where they've taken the ferrous biglycinate chelate supplements, right? And you took it and you compared it to iron sulfate, and you can take less of this type of stuff right in here, then you take iron sulfate. So they compared 25 milligrams of the ferrous form right in here against iron sulfate at 50 milligrams. And the 25 milligrams did just as well as 50 milligrams of the typical prescription iron, right? Now there are other forms of iron, such as iron aspartate and picolinate, that can be utilized also. But the one we like to use in our office is this one. It seems to work very well, gets the iron levels up, and then you have cofactors that help improve iron absorption, right? And there are many factors for iron deficiency anemia, but you have to get to the underlying mechanism and then try to improve absorption of iron, okay? My name is Dr. Jin Sung, where clinical excellence meets excellent results, and we'll see you guys next week on the healthy side. Have an awesome day.